Hello everyone, my name is Thais and I'm currently a UX design student at Career Foundry. I have a background in anthropology and fashion, and now I want to present you my first UX design project, a vocabulary app called Vocabulis. So for the methodology, I practically relied on the design thinking process adapted by the Paris E School at École des Ponts. And as you can see, it's divided in three main steps. And for step one, I started with a competitor benchmark to see what's already on the market and how these apps work. And based on that understanding, I started a ethnographic research by interviewing 5 people. With the findings of the interview, I explored the user needs and created a persona. And my persona is called Flora. She recently moved to Berlin for her job, and she knows some German, but she still feels quite uncomfortable to use it. So basically, the problem of Flora is that she doesn't know enough vocabulary to feel comfortable in daily situations and at work. And additionally, she's very dedicated to her work and therefore doesn't have a lot of time to study. So Flora needs a vocabulary app that allows her to create a study plan that fits her working hours and that allows her to study easily customized vocabulary lists. Basically, Flora is in a vicious circle because she feels uncomfortable speaking, however, doesn't have enough time to study, and then feels frustrated by her slow progress and forgets words easily when she doesn't use them regularly. So in order to help Flora, I designed the first user flow, and I want to give her the possibility to learn any kind of words that you would need at work or in daily situations. So she would start with a registration progress, come to the home screen. There she would find a CTA button that leads to creating a wording list. She would name the list, add the first term, and then write a definition or add a picture. And if she's not finished, she can just add another word, or she can finish the list, review the vocabularies, or just go back to the home screen. So here you can see the first low fidelity wireframes, and I tested them with 5 potential users. And what I tested was the onboarding process. I tested not only the process of creating a vocabulary list, but also the process of setting a goal. And at the end, I also looked at how the users go through the study oral set quiz process. So during my usability test, I got a lot of great insights from my potential users. For example, in the onboarding process, several mixed up the words sign in and sign up. So that's why I changed it to register now or sign in, just to emphasize the difference between both. And I noticed a similar issue in the home screen, where people didn't really understand what I meant with a set learning schedule. So here also I changed the wording into set a study goal. When it came to the list creation, people told me that all the features were there, that they actually wished for. However, they were not very happy with the layout or the arrangement of the settings. So, for example, they didn't understand the scan option that I put below the title of the list. My idea here was to create a feature that allows the user to scan a list they had written down, and they would rather prefer to have that button close to the term they want to learn. That seemed more logic to them. And then they didn't want to have the term and the definition listed below each other, but rather have stand next to each other. So that's also something I changed. And the majority also didn't understand how to add a word, which I was thinking to do with this plus sign above the keyboard. So there also I added a big CTA button to make this more comprehensible. And on the right side, you can see how this would have looked like if you created a list about colors, and you would learn the word, the German word for red, which is rot. Okay, during the quiz, like people were quite fast in understanding the logic of the game. If they typed on the question mark, they would also get a very fast onboarding, and when they tapped, they just could see like the translation and check if they knew the word or not. And during the process, I actually remembered that Flora easily forgets new words if she doesn't write them down or use them regularly. And that's also a feedback that I got from my users. So I changed the feature and gave also the option that my user would need to write down a word to see if he or she is correct or not. Last but not least, I also checked how my users would set up their goal or their learning goal. And on my first wireframe, like I got the feedback that all features are there or all settings are there that I needed. However, there were too many. So here as well, I tried to narrow it down to the most important settings. So let's see how I would continue this project now. Of course, now I did a first review of my wireframes, and now I would test them again to see if I corrected them correctly or more to my users' needs. Afterwards, I would review them again, maybe add the missing app features that I had in mind, and start to create a high fidelity prototype. So the users can also like really imagine how the experience would be with that app. Then I would test it again. And I would go on with that procedure until I'm happy with the final results. During my project, I had a lot of learnings. And my first learning was that 5 to 7 interview partners are actually enough. So I realized that pretty much every issue or even every like good feature was mentioned by almost every user. I would definitely plan a lot more time for research and for the usability testing, as it can take quite a while to go through that process. I also noticed that I get more insights when I ask my participants what they think something would be, rather than explaining them what it is. That actually also gives a good conversation flow, and it gives you a lot of insights how your user actually things, and you also get like a lot of instinctively reactions, which gives you a lot of background information that is necessary for creating your app. When it comes to design, I realized that actually less is more. And I would definitely also recommend everyone to record the conversations, because then you have actually time to focus on your interview partners and can also like enjoy the conversation you have with them. And when you then re-listen to the conversation, you can actually really pay attention to details that you might have forgotten by then. So that was my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm happy to hear your feedback and thoughts about it.